Did Jesus ever fart? And if he did anyone ever hear it? On June 18th, 2017, a popular animation YouTuber by the name of Jaden Animations made a video titled My Random Thoughts. This video currently has over 20 million views, which is quite impressive. Then, just over a month later, the odd ones out made his own My Random Thoughts, which got over 40 million views. While these view counts are fairly high, they are not the most popular videos by either of these content creators. If you look at their channels, you can find other videos with millions of more views. So why is it that despite having other more popular content, there are hundreds of other channels that made a video of the same title, even some appearing 3 years later, still referencing Jaden Animations or the odd ones out when they do it? Hello everybody, I'm the Bandit of the East, and today we're going to be talking about the beauty of random thoughts. Sorry. First off, how is the word thought defined? If we look it up on Oxford Languages, we find two definitions. An idea or opinion produced by thinking, or occurring suddenly in the mind, and the action or process of thinking. Now, how about the definition of random? Made, done, happening, or chosen without method or conscious decision. So the words thought, which requires a level of consciousness, and random, which forgoes consciousness, seem to be at odds with each other due to their conflicting meanings. In a sense, the phrase random thought shouldn't exist. The only problem is we do have random thoughts, which requires the phrase to exist. Now, if I was to define a random thought, I would define it as a thought about something so abrupt that it simply doesn't fit in most conversations. Generally, all it can do is stand alone by itself, having no other place to go. This makes the presence of so many of these videos so interesting, as their very essence implies that they don't belong. The thing is that they do. The only problem is, and this is truly unfortunate, that no one feels they belong outside of the internet or in similar media. These thoughts, despite not fitting in, seem to please the people that think them up. However, they usually don't share them. Yes, I know I just mentioned that hundreds of different channels made their own Random Thoughts video, but that's not what I mean when I say sharing. I mean sharing them with other people, in person, outside of the internet. Unfortunately, this is difficult to do. You see, in a world where we are taught the importance of structure and planning what we want to do in our life, random thoughts don't belong. And when that's the case, then what about the people who have these thoughts? How can you feel like you fit in with a group of people when it seems like the very things you think about are so out of orbit with everyone else? I believe the reason these videos are on the internet is because the people with these thoughts don't feel comfortable sharing them with other people they know. Either that, or they never feel like they have the opportunity to share them in person. They can be a lot like the clever comebacks we have prepared for the insults we haven't received yet, staying within our mind, hoping to find the right moment to let them out. I'll get you one day, Jose, I swear! Anyways, this is where the internet really shines, as it allows us to release these thoughts, for better, or for worse, and have other people see them and relate. It's beautiful when you see that people can relate to how you think, which makes it such a shame that very few people do this in person. Of course, this is where the odd ones out and Jaden get their appeal. When we look at their videos, both before and after the Random Thoughts era, they mostly consist of stories or subjects about whatever was on their mind at the time. There was no structure or pattern. The only thing that remained consistent was their goofy or awkward personalities, which they were not afraid to show. It was the sheer openness of their personalities which made their videos so appealing to their audience. They had stories we could relate to and quirks which we could see in ourselves. Each video felt like that conversation with a friend we needed to have to remind ourselves that we aren't alone in our struggles and experiences. Why hasn't there been a movie where Samuel L. Jackson fights Will Smith? I feel like the whole world would pay to see that movie. This may get a little personal, but I have always had these thoughts, especially when I was a lot younger. I recall sharing them in the form of questions, such as, what if a giant praying mantis attacked the city? How would we stop it? Or any other kind of random scenario involving a giant, highly intelligent form of an animal. All the creativity and wonder that came with being a child would just come out of my mouth. Then, as I got older, these kinds of questions and thoughts just became inappropriate for normal situations. Thus, while the creativity was still there, I was forced to build a dam around it. Except, the dam wasn't big enough. And to be honest, I'm glad it wasn't. The result of this caused me to either start suddenly chuckling in public, or bring out some visible emotion among the crowd with a vastly different, usually plain expression. Not only that, but the thoughts would not leave. At times they got so powerful that just thinking about them wasn't enough. I had to talk about them too. And since I had nobody to talk about these thoughts with, I would end up talking to myself out loud. I honestly can't count the number of times which I suddenly walked past a stranger while talking to myself, and tried to suddenly start coughing or acting like I was singing lyrics to a song to make it look like I wasn't insane. While I will admit to being a little different from other people, for better or for worse, I don't think I'm the only person who experiences these moments of awkwardness from my own thoughts. The problem is, the responses from other people will sometimes make me think the opposite. This is frustrating. It is difficult to have pieces of yourself that you are afraid to share, in any regard. Despite this, I can never get myself to stop bringing out these thoughts. As random and seemingly stupid as they are still mine. And the fact that they can bring out such strong feelings of wonder and amusement make me want to keep on thinking about them. It's like my mind turns into my own personal playground of curiosity that I could visit at any time. The fact that we can share these with people, and possibly make them feel good as well, is what makes these beautiful. In a world where everything is such a stress mess, especially now, I find myself occasionally going back into this playground and appreciating it. Even when things aren't as bad as they are now, whenever we are stuck in a boring class lecture, or just need a moment to relax, to be able to briefly entertain ourselves with new and creative thoughts is something truly valuable, and becomes even more valuable when we have the opportunities to share it. When Jaden Animations made her My Random Thoughts video, she didn't think of something new per se. The aspect of having random thoughts really isn't special. What's special is the idea of sharing these thoughts with other people, and those same people listening. When The Odd Ones Out made his own video on this later, he showed that even if you're not the first to put your thoughts out there, that doesn't make your thoughts any less relevant or interesting, and it's not too late to share them. This is why we have so many of these videos, and why even today more keep being made. Because we have so many people keeping their thoughts on the insides of their minds, and for the longest time they're afraid to let them out, or felt like no one would listen to them. They didn't realize that even when they didn't have anything that seemed relevant to say, they had something that was worth hearing. Once Jaden Animations made her video on this, millions of people realized that these are thoughts other people would listen to. These parts of our minds that we didn't think we could share could come out into the open. Maybe one day we'll be able to easily share these thoughts in person. That would truly be amazing. Blue raspberries don't exist. Yet, it is a flavor. Raspberries are red, but since we already have other red fruity candies like cherry and strawberry, they made blue raspberry. I like to think that in an alternate universe, we did the opposite and had a flavor called red blueberry. Sounds weird, right?